All right, everybody, welcome back to Cool Sports Chat. I believe this is now episode 34, and it is week 3 of NFL and week 3 of fantasy football.
Hmm.
Brendan, as per usual, is 3-0. No shakeup at the top of the league. Brendan, my dad, and Mark still 3-0, and still 3-0-3 teams. A pretty close one at the bottom with BP Bears. Bobby, how you feeling with fantasy football?
I think I'm feeling okay. We got our first win Sunday.
Yeah, the Broncos did. Yeah,
Yep.
it felt pretty good. Bronco fans have gone from wanting to ditch Sean Payton and Bo Nix to now they're happy about it.
Yep.
Brendan, what about you? How you doing? How you feeling?
I feel great. Why?
Well, because you weren't here last week. We got to know how you feeling. Hey, you're 3-0.
I know. Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
My dad, Mark, all 3-0. Who you playing this week? I probably should
Chill.
hold that up. Are you?
Yeah.
Be a good one there.
My first 3 weeks just rotate.
Yeah, fantasy football with NFL.com has been weird the last 2 years with their scheduling.
Oh, this is 3 years in a row that this has happened. It goes Jill U. Grayson, Jill U. Grayson.
Hey, that's going to weed out some of us. I feel pretty lucky to have won. I told Grayson last night on our Crow live stream, I'm like, hey, I do really, really good one week, and then just the worst possible team the next week. So I told him last night, I'm like, you're going to get a good win next week. You're going to beat me. It'll be fine. Week after, I'll rebound,
Yeah.
Let's see.
You'll kick my butt when half my team is on bye. You're welcome.
Oh, is half your team on bye on week 5?
Yeah.
Oh, the undefeated season, Brendan.
It's going to come into an end with your mom.
Well, let's see what projections are. We won't start with your teams yet. Let's look around the league. Actually, let's see the standings. So anyone that's keeping up to date with us. Ooh, so my dad's Division 4 main event Mafia. We have Birmingham Bats 3-0, and then South Park Cows with a pretty gutsy win. Come behind win. I really thought BP Bears had that all locked up, but Monday night turned that around, and they won 2-1 for second. Desert Dogs is 1-2, and then BP Bears is 0-3. And then Bobby, your Division 3 Graveyard Dogs. Matt is at the top, but he only has a 1-game lead. He is 2-1. And then Cryptid Critters is second place, 2-1. And then you are third, or 1-2. And then you are also 1-2. So you and David vying for second place currently.
Yep.
Only 1 game out of first. Brendan, for your division. My mom's surprisingly 0-3. Probably the best 0-3 team we've seen, considering she always scores over 100 points. Second place is Grayson, 1-2, and then of course you 3-0, already 2 games ahead in your division. So you gotta at least feel pretty good about that. And then Division 2. Oh, did I not say your division name? Your division name is on Enterprises. Division 2, Golden Lovers. Currently, Mark is winning that. 3-0, so Sunhooters there. Then second place is Dark Horse, 2-1. And then third place is poor old Castle Rock Rams, 2-1. And fourth place, Iowa Eagles, tie at 0-3. So that's where we stand. Let's see what if the playoffs started today. Luckily, we have like 11 more weeks. So if the playoffs start today, on the first side would be Birmingham Bats number 1, Thundercats number 4, both teams getting a bye. And then Blueberry Bulldogs 8, Cryptid Critters 9. Winner there would play Birmingham Bats, and then I would also have a bye, 5th. Now, on the other side of the branch, we got number 2, Montana Outlaws with Brendan. In number 3, California Sun Hitters, both having buys as well as Dark Horse with a buy. And then rounding out the final, the wild card, South Park Cows and Desert Dogs. So that's currently where we are, week 3. This week will be interesting because it's NFL any given Sunday. I think we saw that this week and last week and week before, unless you're a Browns or Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
More of the same there. But for a lot of the other teams, it was pretty crazy scores. For fantasy, Brendan, like he already said, plays Blazing Red. He is currently projected 124.81 to 117.48. So a victory there, Brendan. It says you should at least go to 4-0.
Devontae Smith is probably out with concussion, and Najee Harris was in a sling after Sunday's game, so I might be dipping into my depth a little bit, losing a star receiver and my third running back.
Well, and did you see the hit on Devontae Smith
Yes.
when he was already on the ground
I
and
saw-
he just lunged at him?
Yeah, I was shocked when they said concussion. I thought it was going to be something worse. But yeah, no, that was an ugly hit.
I didn't watch the game, that one, live, but I did get to see it with highlights, and I just saw that and I was like, wow, I'm surprised they didn't call the penalty. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Mark 3-0, looking like it could be in danger. He's playing Dark Horse, and he's currently projected 115.62 to Dark Horse's 116.32. Man, we've had a couple of close games. Like Brendan texted one time. He's like, look at this score.
Yeah.
What was it, like 20 yards or something?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, Shane and BP Bears was down to like 9 yards.
Yeah, and Shane pulled that out like last minute. That was insane. I thought he lost. I was like, oh, good for BP Bears. Like,
Yep.
they've been slowly building, and yeah, I was excited. But hey, good for Shane too. He's been working up the ranks. Oh, Bobby, you're playing Ty. Ty needs a win, and he's currently projected 93.86 to your 84.02.
Mhm.
What do you think in this week? Do you think?
We'll see how my team, I might take out, get some other players, maybe Stidham take out Zach Wilson too.
I mean, Zach Wilson might get traded at some point. He might be
Yep.
a starting quarterback somewhere. Let's see. Oh, and here we go. Matt 2-1 versus David 1-2. So they must be doing a lot of divisional ones for some reason early on. But Matt is projected 129 to David's 113. And then here we go. BP Bears also looking for their first win, also projected to win 107 to Scott's 94. So, hey, BP Bears might have a team this year. Last year they were kind of down in the lower ranking, but they've rebuilt through the draft. And then this could be another good one. South Park Cows, Birmingham Bats. Currently, my dad projected to go 4-0 with Shane dropping this one 113 to 104. And then me and Grayson, I'm 2-1. He's 1-2. He's projected 118. I'm projected 123. So that's what the projections look like. But let's talk about the week that was. Brendan, we will start with you since you weren't able to talk Eagles last week either. How are you feeling so far this season?
I miss AJ Brown.
Me too.
I'm actually kind of shocked on how much they actually miss him. I don't know. I mean, it was good that our defense finally stepped up. I felt like Our defense definitely. I don't know if it's the trip back from. I know that they got a couple extra days of rest playing from Friday to Monday, coming back from Brazil, but they just looked slow. It was not as good of as our defense should be. I don't believe it was a Vic Fangio defense, and I don't believe it was everyone being up to par. I was terrified going into this game, just watching the Saints, and it wasn't necessarily what they did to the Panthers; it was what they did to the Cowboys. And if they can do that to the Cowboys, which I thought was a half decent team, I was afraid of what they were going to do in New Orleans to Philadelphia. But I don't know. I'm not gonna say all of Jalen Hurts' interceptions are on him, but I feel like something needs to clean up because averaging 2 turnovers through the first 3 weeks is not. It's rare when you win the game and lose the turnover battle. So worries.
Yeah, and like you said, they're dealing with some injuries, and play calling is still aggressive, so you gotta like that points, but sometimes going for it on your own 11 in the first, probably not the best idea. But twice. But at least you guys are doing that. There's some teams that wish they would do that in like the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
There were some teams
but I mean, and at least, we weren't trying to do it when we were down so much. At least, our defense was holding them to 3 points, but it's also you didn't allow a touchdown until the last 5 minutes of the game. Let's kick 2 field goals. Now we're up 6-3, and I don't know. In case we did put the foot on the pedal, you don't feel as bad,
Yeah, I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and he says this guy hates kickers. He said, "Go for the touchdown. We don't want to kick it."
Yeah, no kidding.
Obviously, just joking because they like Sirianni, but I had a laugh there. Bobby, you guys did what no one thought: clean the slate with Tampa Bay. Your defense looked really good.
Yeah.
The offense was clicking. Honestly, we'll get to it in a second. All rookie quarterbacks looked 100% better this week. So, but Bobby, give us your thoughts on Broncos. Did you have your free donut?
Yep, I did. Monday morning.
So, what did you think watching the Broncos this week?
I thought we clicked really well. Defense had to go. We finally started opening it up. As to passing, not handing off. We were starting to going downfield more. Just to get going.
Well, and I think there's a pretty good argument that all these rookie quarterbacks did not play enough in the preseason.
Yep.
And they played against pretty vanilla defenses. So
yep.
They all went.
Jaden Daniels looked great last night.
No, that's what I'm saying. First 2 weeks they were all like no touchdowns, not looking the greatest. Maybe throwing for 100 yards, and then this week they were all throwing like touchdowns over. Caleb Williams broke the rookie quarterback passing yardage for the Bears with 338 yards. Jaden Daniels dropping dimes to win the game. Bo Nix just like carving up that defense. So I think people just people were already writing these guys off as busts. So I thought that was
Jaden Daniels had more touchdowns last night than incompletions in his third game.
Well, that game, I think, because it was that game where they had like no punts, right?
Yeah, no punts, no turnovers.
Yeah, and it's not happened for like 60 or 70 some years or something dumb like that. Yeah, no, when we did our draft analysis, I said I thought Jaden would have a better year than any rookie quarterback. And I think he's there. I think he's slowly having it. But Bo Nix and Caleb for 2 and 3 as far as what I think is pretty good. Of course, the others aren't playing. I guess what's his face did get sacked a couple times in New England the other night. But, yeah. But yeah, so I think people give up on rookie quarterbacks. way too early nowadays. I don't know if it's just that we want everything right now type of mentality. But I was looking up Peyton Manning's rookie year.
Oh, he was awful.
Yeah, his first game, 50% completion, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Second, 59%, 1 touchdown, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Then his second game, 65, 3-0, so no interceptions. But then 2-2, 3-1, 1-2, 3-2, 1-2, 2-2, 3-0, 2-2. Like if that was today, people would be like, "Get rid of him, draft a new quarterback." So I think sometimes we give up on these rookie quarterbacks a little too early. Now, Brendan, maybe a rookie quarterback, like, I don't know, confidence is shot, wrong team. I mean, we've seen people leave Carolina like Baker and have, much more success. What are your thoughts on Bryce Young?
I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I think kind of like what you told me, over the weekend. It's one game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought the coaching staff was the problem, but then Andy Dalton's able to go in there and carve up a half decent Raiders defense. I mean, a lot of people think they have a good defense, middle of the pack maybe, but and he was able to take him down. And I don't know. I think it's too early to tell. I do think a lot of young quarterbacks have to go to the right place at the right time. I think part of the reason like Jaden Daniels is having such a good like rookie year is because of the system he went into. He went somewhere where, even though it's a defensive head coach, their offensive coordinator is a big known person. I don't know the Bears offensive coordinator, and they have a defensive minded coach. So I think that hurts.
Well, and Eberflus is terrible. They should have got rid of him.
Well, I'm just saying, I think that hurts rookie quarterbacks a little bit more. I think you need to have a strong. Now, obviously, also, it's half a battle of putting the ball in the right spot and being able to go through your reads. And, but I mean, I think there's a point of view for everything. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, and Bobby, one question we forgot to ask. What are your thoughts with the running game? I mean, I know one of them's your running back in fantasy.
Javonte Williams.
Yeah, but he's averaging like 2 yards a carry. Tyler Beatty looked good.
That fumble kind of cost us too.
Yeah, Beatty looked good. And
I think he's got to be replaced at some point.
Well,
Beatty,
I think once their rookie gets in, maybe that's when he'll get replaced.
Beatty.
He's on IR right now, but something's got to change. Let's run through the we'll say any games that surprised you, Brendan. Is there a game that shocked you looking at last week?
I think the biggest surprise was the Panthers game. I think the Vikings taking care of Tennessee or Houston was also a pretty surprising margin of victory. But I think those are the two I'd have to say that were the most surprising.
Bobby, what about you? Anything surprising this week?
Let's see. I think Kansas City should have lost that game. I think the refs keep giving it to him.
No.
Kansas City guy was holding the other guy, though.
Yeah, but if you look at there's other penalties that they should have got on their side. As a wise coach once said, never let the game be so close that the
Yeah.
referees decided. If you want to win it, you got to go out and earn it. And there's another thing that said, complain about the refs is what losers do. Winning
Yep.
rings
Yeah,
is what
true.
winners do. So no excuses, I think. And it's something we see all the time. When New England was doing really good, oh, it's the refs. And now they've all switched allegiances, apparently, to the Chiefs. I don't know. That's my thoughts. New England got smacked talking about them. The
Oh,
Jets
yeah.
came out. Aaron Rodgers' pass was beautiful. That last touchdown pass he did,
Yep.
where it's like all sideways. Oh, beautiful pass. He is looking much more healthier, and maybe he just has something to prove. The way the Vikings are playing, I don't think he'll be proving it there, though. Let's see. Green Bay beating Tennessee pretty significantly. Tennessee dropping to 0-3 is shocking. I did not expect that one. I for sure thought they'd win. I also thought Cleveland would win because I thought the Giants were really bad, but they eked one out 21-15. The Bears Colts game at first kind of started out as a slog. It was 21-16 at the end, though. There was a drive where it was like quarterback turnover and then quarterback turnover. So it just nullified the turnovers. But then both quarterbacks came back and showed what they can do. T.Y. Hilton threw Seth Rollins over the barricade
Oh, yeah, I saw.
because he walked up in like a Colts jacket and everyone was like cheering, and then he removed it for his Bears stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's better than CM Punk. Let's see. Minnesota just dominated Houston 34-7.
Yep.
New Orleans. Oh, that was an ugly game. What was it? 3-0 going into the third, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I remember I texted you, and then it was like Barkley, just next play.
Oh, I thought the game was going to end 7-3, honestly.
I was like, this is insane. Like, for these two offenses, like, to only have 3 points combined, that was crazy.
I know. I was just like, this is. It was a good defensive game.
Right? If
But
you like defense.
like I said, well, the Eagles were running up and down the field on them all second quarter, but their four possessions were 2 turnovers and 2 turnover on downs. And instead of, walking away with 6 points, you walk away with nothing because you miss A.J. Brown.
Any word if he's back this week?
I think he is back this week, but now you're missing Devontae Smith. So now you're missing your speedster.
Yeah, and so luckily they did trade for Dotson, so we'll see what he can do.
Dotson hasn't showed up in the 2 games that A.J. Brown's been missing, and he's been receiver 2, so we'll see.
Yeah, but I think he's more made for receiver 3. And Jahan Dotson and Devontae are pretty close in what they can do. I think A.J. Brown out there just is completely different. So if he's out there with them, it'll be good. Who's their 4th-string receiver? That's the question.
Cooley got hurt with his shoulder. He had been he actually had been a better second receiver. And then you have Johnny Wilson, Covey got hurt, and Paris Campbell.
Okay.
Our 3 receivers right now are Paris Campbell, Johnny Wilson, and Juwan Dotson. The other 3 are hurt.
Well, and see, Campbell can be pretty good. So
Then you got Goddard.
Yeah. Goddard, man, he had a game. He almost won it single-handedly for the BP Bears as well. Like, his game just was, like, insane. 174 receiving yards. That was insane.
Yeah.
Such a good game for him. Ooh, talking about injury worries, the Chargers lost 20-10 to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Pittsburgh's getting it done with their defense, but Herbert did get hurt or re-aggravated his tendonitis or whatever he has.
Yep.
And so he had a walking boot on, Heineke comes in. So luckily, too, they traded for Heineke. But that's going to be not good. I mean, they are running it more and looking good running, but if they don't have that threat of a passing game, I don't know what you're going to do.
Did Bosa ever go back in the game? I saw
No.
that he got hurt, but I don't know if he went back in.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play this week either. There were some pretty major injuries. We'll get to it.
Brock Purdy, right? Got hurt too.
No, he finished though.
Did he?
I think so.
I think he finished, but he's questionable on fantasy.
Yeah.
He might be playing Will Levis.
I mean, Najee Harris finished the Steelers game and was still in an arm sling after the game.
Ooh.
Hey,
Yeah.
AJ Hawk played with an arm cast. His whole arm.
Yep.
That was the yeah.
Let's see. Bobby, your Broncos won 26-7 over Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And then here we go, that game we were talking about earlier as well. Vegas dropping it to Carolina 36-22. And then Seattle doing, I think, what everyone expected. They're still playing really good defense, and the Dolphins have no quarterback with Skylar Thompson. We haven't really seen enough, I guess, to really judge him, but he also got hurt. So they are one quarterback on their roster currently not hurt. Not looking good there.
I heard there's a rumor that they might bring back Ryan Tannehill.
I heard, Ryan Tannehill or Zach Wilson trading for him. So that's why I said, Bobby, don't get rid of Zach.
Hey.
See, in Dynasty, it's also about knowing who could pop off. I think a lot of times, because people are used to playing just 1-year leagues, they just start adding whoever is available, whoever's top scoring, this and that. But if you go back last year, I was looking at that. The week 1, there's 27 ads, and none of them were on a roster come the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I was like, telling stat there. Dallas looked like they were going to get smoked by Baltimore. Baltimore was running all over them. And then I guess kind of their crux this year is they let teams get really close, and they almost lost another game. So maybe some coaching. Maybe they need to keep the foot on the pedal. I don't know. Brennan, any thoughts there? I mean, I know you're happy about the outcome, but
On where?
Baltimore beating Dallas, barely.
I think they need to get the receivers in the games more.
Yeah, see, they just need a better balance, because 1 week we're talking they need the running game more, and then the next week we're like, where's the passing game? So we need a better, I think, 50-50 split. And Zay Flowers, we've seen, he can do it. Throw him the ball.
Well,
I think
isn't
Andrews
supposed to be a good receiver too, and
who
he showed up once. Rashard Bateman.
Yeah, well, he caught a touchdown this week.
That's his one good week.
Hey, what about Mark Andrews? No points. Got nothing.
Well, they have a good young tight end that's coming up, and
Yeah, but he's been a bust. Anyone that's drafted him or kept him in our case.
or Travis Kelce.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that too. How about San Francisco losing to the Rams? I don't think any of us picked the Rams last week. So Rams, gritty win. They didn't want to fall to 0-3. Debo doesn't look good. I'm going to say it. Debo Samuel not looking good. Oh, who's next? Detroit, Arizona, another fun game, 20-13. So enjoyed that one. And then, Bobby, here we go. Kansas City barely beating Atlanta. Atlanta's looked good, Brendan. So outside of week 1, when they played you and they played Kansas City, they've been good. So, I think everyone feels better about the Eagles' loss in hindsight because of how good they've looked. So, and then Monday night, Brendan, you said the game 1 wasn't really a game, maybe a scrimmage. Is that what was going on there?
Yeah, it was 30-something to 3 at half.
And it's got to be coaching.
I didn't know that Jacksonville had a Pee Wee team. because Buffalo just I don't know.
We have Grayson, maybe. Yeah, I mean that's definitely got to be coaching because you have too much talent on the Jaguars to be 0-3, especially getting blown out 0-3. Grayson, it feels like we were just talking to you about 24 hours ago. How's it been since our Crow deep dive podcast thingy?
I'm still recovering from the revived mental trauma, but hey, we're here. We're having to watch Crow 2024, but we're here.
I talked to David and he's like, how'd it go? And I told him someone rated it a 4.5. I think that was Nick. And he's like, it's pretty generous of them.
I
Of
mean,
which Pro?
The new one.
Oh, I haven't seen the new one.
I don't recommend it. Grayson might. I don't know. I think what people tell you to do is they've released 2 scenes, and those are about the only good scenes. So just go watch them on YouTube, and then you don't have to sit through the love story. It's
pretty much.
Go read the comic. You want some reading material? Go read the comic. It's pretty haunting. Grayson, have you read it yet?
Dude, it's been 24 hours, man. There is no way I've read through all that yet.
Grayson. No, I know. It's good, though. Especially when you get the Ultimate or Special Edition. I'll show you. This one. Because then it has additional art and stuff that he cut out. And it has more of his explanation of why he wrote it. And then we'll finish off this and we'll get Grayson to talk about his thoughts so far. Cincinnati loses a close one. Jaden Daniels looking really, really good. Cincinnati losing offensive linemen, which is not something they want to be doing. So, Grayson, how are you feeling in fantasy first of all?
I mean, just like every year, it's been a struggle on the start. I don't know how we're going to perform throughout the rest of the year, but hey, you just got to do what you can, and that's all you can really do.
You got to like those Outlaws on top of the division, right?
Who doesn't?
Hey, Grace, it's okay. You got an easy win because, I was second highest scoring team week 1. Then I was the lowest scoring team week 2. And then this week, second highest scoring team. So you know what that means. Lowest scoring team this week. So you got this one in the bag.
I won this past week. And there's only 2 teams that have scored less points than I did this week.
Sometimes it's, oh man, Grayson didn't like that. He said none.
I'm just trying to hold my last string of consciousness together. It's been a day.
Oh man, I hear you. I was after work. I was just like, man, I felt so just drained.
Yeah, I hear
How I feel this week.
Well, I've been trying to get everything done, working extra since we're going down to New Mexico to put up that memorial. And so I'm like, just get everything done, work really hard, So I think I'm overworking. Grayson, NFL this year has been kind of wacky. Any takeaways that you have so far?
I think we're hitting the growing pains of outdated management and outdated owners trying to run everything like it's back in the early 2000s, back in the late 90s, and back in the 80s. It's just the all-stars that we grew up with are getting too old, and the ownership just does not know how to pick better, talent. And there's honestly not. There's been like really good, all-stars coming out of some of these classes, but I feel like a lot of it's just pretty mid, and now we're just kind of facing like the weird like generational gap where we go a few years with it being like mediocre teams, where this could be like a possible like dynasty builder if some of the owners stay out of the way of some of the better GMs like Cleveland. But it's I don't know. It's definitely, as you said, it's just weird. I don't know how else to really describe it. It's just something. It just feels off.
I will say, looking at the league this year felt weird because all the quarterbacks seemed really, really young. And I really don't remember a time when it was that way, because there was always at least a handful that were at least 6, 7 year old, vets. Now your old vets are like Stafford, Kyler Murray, all these guys that have been in the league for like maybe 6, 7 years. Stafford's longer, but Grayson, talking about quarterbacks.
I don't want to.
How do you feel about the Broncos fans wanting to give up on Bo Nix after 2 weeks, and then him coming out and looking really good week 3?
Sounds like a Broncos fan. They were spoiled for too long, and then they were spoiled for years. Peyton Manning was great, and then now they have to deal with people actually rebuilding. So it's a bunch of people that moved to Denver, and then a bunch of ex-Denver or like tenured Denver fans that just want to complain about, not giving anybody a chance, and they're just burning through quarterbacks because nobody's going to fit into and then give them a championship in the first year like Peyton Manning did, and they can't. They got to be realistic, which I know it's hard for Broncos fans to do, but yeah. It's kind of the time for them to stop really complaining about the fact that they suck, because it's falling on deaf ears and nobody cares.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. They all last year just tear it apart, and then like 2 weeks in, they're just like, why are we losing? We shouldn't be this bad. And it's like, who's on your roster?
Yep.
Like, you have a bunch of rookies.
You just went through ownership change. You got a lot of freshies on your team. You refuse to invest in any new talent or any, aged talent that might be cheaper, but it'll get hurt easier because they're older. Because you believe because you have youth on your team, it's going to magically give you a championship. And that's not how that works.
Right. I think we've seen that a lot with the rookie quarterbacks. For people to start wondering if they're bust after 2 weeks, is just asinine, in my opinion.
I mean, coming from a Browns fan, like, I get it, but I feel like honestly most of the fan base is kind of like starting to give more people a chance, especially after like Baker Mayfield and a lot of other quarterbacks that came back, including friggin' Joe Flacco, came off the couch, killed it. But I think, in all honesty, the Broncos are going through growing pains. They're under new ownership. There's a lot of stuff that's not going to go right. And I think a lot of the newer Broncos fans, as well as some of the older Broncos fans, I want to just say they look like garbage. It's like, well, you're going through new ownership, new coaching staff. Everything is brand new. You're barely breaking anything in, and you're barely letting anything like really take root, because Sean Payton is a really good coach, has his issues like every coach does, but he honestly could lead the Broncos if they let him run the team the way he wants to at least another, like he did with the Saints, another Super Bowl run. But you can't just keep banking on that forever, which I understand, but you have to give it time to grow. It's going to take 5 to 10 years for a well-built team to get where it needs to go, especially if you know how to manage your staff and your payroll well. It's going to take time.
Right, and one thing we looked at earlier, I'm going to read you this touchdown-interception ratio. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Good week, 3 touchdown, no interceptions. And then 2 for 2, 3 for 1, 1 for 2, 3 for 2, 1 for 2, 2 for 2, 3 for none, 2 for 2, 1 1, 1 3, 0 2, 1 3, 1 3. Who do you think had 26 touchdowns and 28 interceptions that I just read?
My brain doesn't have enough juice for that. I gotta phone a friend.
It is Peyton Manning, his rookie year.
Yep.
26 touchdowns, 28 interceptions. Could you imagine if the Colts fans after a year were like, move on from this guy, he sucks?
Exactly. I mean, nobody comes fresh out the box looking great. You got to let them develop. You got to let them learn. because they're coming into a league they've never played in before. They've gone from playing against people their own age to playing against grown ass men. Excuse my language, but it really is, you're going from playing against a kid who's, maybe got 20 to 40 pounds on you to people that literally have like 50 to 100 pounds on you that are going to annihilate you. And so you can't, the expectations are really too high on some of these rookies. And they honestly, like, a lot of these fans that honestly want to see like them coming fresh out of the box looking good. That's just not how that works. You got to let them learn. You got to let them grow.
Yeah, and like the speed too, because like in college, you might be the fastest athlete. Like you might come against one or two a game that can catch up to you, but the defensive lineman will catch up to you in the NFL. Like everyone's fast.
Yeah, you have to be, or you don't get paid.
Yeah, it's kind of how it works. You have to be the best of the best. That's why there's busts, because they're better than any of us. But just when you get to the league, you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Just how it works, unfortunately. So, Grayson, any other like surprises, like players, teams so far? 3 weeks in.
Honestly, I can't really say 3 weeks in. It's been anything, groundbreaking or just out of the box wild. It's still really early in the season. It feels like there's just downward trend of mediocrity all the way throughout the league. Just kind of feels very just overbearing and kind of potent. I feel like everybody's trying to copy everybody else to have like a winning team. It doesn't feel like, there's any personality behind a team anymore. They're just copying the same formula to try to be, the best. And I feel like that's taken away from a lot of enjoyment on the game and actually from the players actually being the best they can be in the game. And you can kind of feel that as a fan watching the games.
Well, and I think one position that might suffer the most is offensive lineman, because it seems like each year there's less and less like all-star offensive linemen. Like it used to be like the number one thing you wanted to get in the draft.
Yeah.
Because like you get one, it would anchor your team. And now there might be like 5 or 6 in the league.
Yep.
Like just total.
I
Most of them
agree.
might be with Cleveland or Cincinnati, because I think they have the top 2 offensive lines.
Well, it's like, I don't know. Even when I was going through school and I played in football, which only just went through high school, so I can't say like I know, a whole lot. But it's like, I know how some of the mentality goes because I played online back in the day, and it's like you do have to be that rock and kind of like, the quiet Billy badass who like plays with the team, but you're there to punch somebody in the mouth. And it feels like, even though like there's still plenty of like, good linemen, especially a lot of young ones that are, still like, getting used to the league, but it doesn't feel like they are they're not the rock of the offense anymore. It feels like they're trying to rely way too hard on, they're trying to find the next Travis Kelce. They're trying to find, all-star receivers that can outplay bad blocking. And it's like, you can't do that. If you build the wall, the points will come.
If you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come. Because just like in every situation, if you can buy the quarterback time and you can have that protection for your running backs and for your tight ends, and you can build literally a 10-ton brick crap house to protect your quarterback from any sort of outside, like, blitzes or anything else, that's what makes for entertaining football. Is being able to at least buy your, like, it's not going to be perfect, but at least giving him the extra 2 seconds per play. It feels like they're kind of really diverting from that to try to make up for the lack of, because everybody wants to be an all-star, nobody wants to be a lineman, and it feels like they're trying to overcompensate for that way too much instead of, letting everything kind of naturally flow into place where it needs to be for having that essential part of the team still be part of the actual play.
Well, and I think one team that we can see that pretty glaringly calls home in the city that's behind me, it's the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, granted, their offensive line looked better against the Colts. It wasn't a sack like every single play, but there's still a picture from the Colts game on like the 2-yard line where the entire Bears offensive line is on the ground and the defense is like chasing Caleb Williams. So that might be something, they should, I don't know, focus on trying to fix
Yeah.
on this season. Season trades can still add people in free agency. Let's look at injuries because injuries always play a big part. So Justin Herbert is hurt. Currently, let's see. Herbert has gone X-rays, and they came back negative, but he's still going to be monitored, so he might play this week. Who do they play? They play the Chiefs, right? They need him. Like, if they have Heineke, that's another Chiefs win. Easy one there.
Yep.
Oh, here's another one. Vikings looking good, but Sam Darnold did hurt his knee. But it's just a bone bruise, no structural damage. So, again, good news for the team there. And it looks like Jordan Love, who sprained his MCL, week 1. And what was it, last 5 seconds, Brendan, of that game? Like last play of the game.
It was the second to last play.
Yeah. Just
That
awful.
field was crap.
That's what I heard. Was it a soccer field? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a soccer field. It was worse than MetLife Stadium.
And that says something.
Yeah.
When your stadium is worse than there. Devontae Smith obviously ruled out with a concussion from Philadelphia. He's not going to play this week.
Two offensive linemen as well.
Really?
Lane Johnson got a concussion, and the other one had a hand problem, an arm. He couldn't push off defenders with his arm.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Britton Covey got hurt. He has a broken bone in his shoulder and expected.
Yeah, that was the receiver that hurt his shoulder.
Let's see. Van Jefferson had an eye injury for the Steelers.
Yep.
Tight ends, Sam Laporta. It looks like low ankle sprain. He's day-to-day. Trey McBride, pretty good rookie, or second year, I should say, from Arizona. For third year. Is he third year now? Brennan, fact check me real quick. But he did get a concussion, it looks like. So, again, another one with concussions, especially what we've seen with Tua. They're going to take those ones seriously. Lane Johnson, concussion, like Brendan was saying. Let's see. Mekhi Becton, the guy I asked Brendan about because he played for Louisville, was injured in the first half. Doesn't say what. Rashawn Slater, injury. Wyatt Teller from the Browns. He's a guard. He had a knee injury. He could land on the IR. See, and Teller's good too. James Hudson from the Browns suffered injury as well. And then the Falcons, almost their entire offensive line got hurt. Joe Alt had a knee injury. Let's see. Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans. Leonard Williams got hurt. Myles Garrett's hurt, Grayson?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Man's getting old.
He got hurt week 2, right?
Yep. Sure did. And I forgot what it is, but
It
Trey
says
McBride
something with
did
his feet. Third year. It says Brown Star is dealing with issues with his feet, which he has said has led to lower leg ailments.
yep. That's a 4 to 6 week injury right there. It's great.
Here's another one. Joey Bosa for the Chargers, another high-powered defensive star. Walked off with trainers with a hip injury after one snap against the Steelers. There's a lot of injuries this week. Speaking of injuries, Grayson, did you see the play that Devontae Smith got hurt on?
No, I did not.
Did you guys get the Eagles game? Because I thought you guys would have gotten the Broncos game.
Yeah, we unfortunately got the Broncos game.
Yep.
Why did you say yup like that, Brett? You're supposed to like the Broncos.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think I found it.
Mhm.
Okay. So, Grayson, I'm going to post this in the chat so you can see it. And just tell me how unsportsmanlike this may or may not look.
Oh, they were calling Saints players dirty because they also
penalty though.
They threw Darius Slay into the bench, like way after the play. One of the linemen continued out of bounds and threw him into the bench. And then the next play, Blankenship intercepted Carr for the game.
We'll just see when Grayson sees it.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. That's totally fair and legal and totally should not have. Heck, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. It's totally should have been. I don't know what anybody's talking about. That's totally legal.
Just
Not a late hit
first at the
in
dude.
any way.
The dude's helmet's off, and you're just like, I'm gonna launch myself directly at this dude's face. Like,
It hurt me as
Saints
an
is the
Eagles
Saints
fan.
does.
It hurt me as an Eagles fan and as a Devontae Smith fantasy football owner.
Brandon was like, I am going to go to New Orleans and give him a piece of my mind.
Shoot, I would. That's something else, man.
That is rough. We have not seen those types. I mean, I know we saw him a little bit with who was the Broncos player, Brendan? He was like a safety. He would like Kareem Jackson. Is that him?
Yeah, Kareem Jackson did
Jackson,
twice.
yeah, he was a dirty player in Houston and then came over to Denver and
Denver was
dirty
also
there.
a dirty player.
I mean, not dirty.
Why'd you say not dirty? Is he with the
No,
Eagles?
he's very dirty.
Okay, I was like, what are you talking about? Brendan, is he there? Has Russell Wilson stopped holding you hostage? Is it Kareem Jackson now?
I heard Russell Wilson might get traded again.
No, because Tomlin has not said Fields is the starter. He is leaving it open. He said there is no rush for me to call him the starter.
Okay.
So even though they're winning, I think he's going to put Russ in at some point. Unless like he just comes out and has a killer game or something. But now that we know injuries, let's look at the games that will decide fantasy football. And then we'll look at fantasy football, give some predictions. So, Brendan, it seems only fair. We will let you start off the Thursday night game in your division. Dallas is traveling to that stadium that we got banned from that one day wearing Bullet Club stuff. Tell me, who do you think wins, Cowboys or Giants?
Sadly, Cowgirls.
Why? Why do you think this?
It's a good question. Because they should win, they should have the better team, but I don't know.
I think they want Dion as their coach.
I've heard Belichick,
I have heard Belichick as well.
but I've also heard Belichick to Philly and to Jacksonville. So
Jacksonville has way too much talent to be 0-3. They have Etienne, they have Lawrence, they have like 3 good receivers, including rookie Brian Thomas. They got 2 good tight ends. They shouldn't be. That is crazy.
tell us how you really feel about Jacksonville, Keegan.
Get Doug Peterson out of there.
You're not even a Jacksonville fan, and you're coming to the defense.
Well, it's just Lawrence is a good quarterback, and it's just going back to like people put all the blame on him. And it's like, is he out there getting the points scored on him too? Like, it is a team game.
The thing that was like QB comparisons, and he has even numbers to Daniel Jones. So are they both trash? Are they both good? Or why is one getting high praises and one isn't when they have similar numbers?
because one is definitely coaching, and one is Daniel Jones. Bobby, how about you? Who you think wins on Thursday night, the Cowboys or the Giants?
I don't see the Giants winning. I think Dallas beats them.
Dallas beats him.
You
All right, Grayson, you gonna pick the Giants, or you gonna keep the Cowboys train rolling?
I mean, it's picking between a team of it's just lesser of two worses. Honestly, just because we got whooped by the Giants, I just kind of want to see them, prove if they're really worth it and just keep this train going. So I'm going to give, the Giants a shout out. Let's see if they prove me wrong, which they will. But, hey, might as well go against the grain.
You know what? I'm feeling lucky too. Give me the Giants. I think their defense is playing better. Malik Neighbors looks just fantastic. Like, he's playing out of his mind. He might be offensive rookie of the year. And I think Dallas is too inconsistent. They really don't have a run game. And I think that's what stumbles them. And then they can pass it. They have CeeDee Lamb still, which Grayson's thankful for in fantasy at least. But Dak Prescott still looks decent, but they just don't have a run game, and they don't have any other receivers. Or, ever since they let their tight end walk as well, it's just like, what are you doing, Jerry Jones? He's going all in, but we're not sure on what.
No, he's
Talking
going
about
all in on
ownership.
2 players, and now he can't afford anybody else.
I
He
mean,
couldn't even
did
afford
say-
$8 million a year for Derrick Henry.
I know. I was going to say, he said he couldn't afford Derrick Henry, and we're like, well, how? You have like a bunch of cap space.
He paid freaking
Zeke
Dak
Elliott.
Prescott and CeeDee Lamb $100 million apiece, and can't afford anyone else. So there goes your defense. There goes your receivers, and it's said that Zeke Elliott's getting paid more on his first contract with the Cowboys than he isn't getting on this current contract with the Cowboys.
He almost paid as much for Dak Prescott as he did when he bought the Cowboys. Just let that sink in.
And people want to blame McCarthy, which, I mean, it partially is his fault, but
Yeah, but he's also like the most winningest quarterback most winningest coach by percentage in Cowboys history.
yet they still call for his head every other game.
It's like Bronco fans.
Oh, it's not just the fans; it's everyone. Even news reporters and people are like counting down the days until he gets fired.
I mean, honestly, this year, if they don't make the playoffs, I want to say it's going to be this year, but remember, who was that one coach before?
I think it will be this year because it's his contract is up at the end of the year.
Oh, see, then that makes perfect sense. They don't even have to fire him. They can just let him not
Exactly.
renew his contract.
And that's what they did with Jason Garrett, too. They just didn't renew his contract.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we're on to our next game. Another divisional game. We got New Orleans Saints traveling to big bad Atlanta Falcons. Brendan, again, two teams that you just know very, very well, having watched Eagles play. Who's coming out on top? This is tougher than I would have thought.
This is tougher after this past week. I think Atlanta has gotten better, and I think they're getting their footing under them. New coordinator, new quarterback coming in. It was it is a whole different system for them. I think Falcons could upset them just because they're at home.
Bobby, what about you?
I think Atlanta wins Sunday.
All right, Grayson, Saints, Falcons.
Honestly, I think the Saints are, seeing as they're still not over the Sean Payton legacy of playing dirty. I think while Atlanta is looking pretty good this year, I think the Saints are just going to win it just because they still, even though they're not outstanding by any means. I mean, that entire conference is just everybody's to lose, and pretty much they're showing that anyway. I think they still got enough grit to really pull it out and show that they're still, a contender for that conference. So I think they'll be in Atlanta for that game.
Oh man, I don't even know who to pick here because 2 weeks ago, Saints I probably would have said because they were blowing teams out, and then last week they just didn't look good, and that's what everyone was worried about because this is how they play offensively. Their defense still looks really good. Maybe illegal or not. We're not going to comment on that, but I think if anything, man, just considering what they did to Philadelphia, I think they could do that to Atlanta. And I think considering Kirk can't really run around like he used to, and by time, I think they can get to him. So give me the Saints as well. Now, if they lose this one, I might just not pick them again the rest of the year. So, yeah, it doesn't even matter who they're playing. Carolina, I'll pick Carolina. All right, Brendan, Los Angeles Rams traveling to Chicago against the Bears. Who do you got?
Let's say Bears.
You're saying the Bears. Okay. I mean, they are favored.
The Rams don't have a pass rusher anymore.
But, when you're playing against a team that just doesn't have an offensive line, I think they have cardboard cutouts playing offensive line. That's what it looks like against Houston, at least.
Yeah, that game looked bad. I felt bad for Williams. They were like, show me the difference between Williams and Fields.
Yeah, but I think both of them didn't have offensive lines. I think with Williams, the problem was in Chicago, he held on to it longer. He's done better in Pittsburgh. He's looked a lot better as far as getting the ball out. But again, coaching, Eberflus is terrible. All right, so Brendan picked the Rams to lose. Bobby, what about you?
I'm going Rams this week.
So 1-1. Okay.
Yep.
Grayson.
I am so sorry. What are the teams again?
Rams and Browns. Rams and Bears.
Huh? Honestly, I think Rams are going to win. I think even though they are, running out of steam here and there, or I shouldn't say they're running out of steam, but it's what happens to everybody that has been good for so long. You just start, getting used to it, and if nobody can really beat you, you kind of start getting lazy. But I think they're not going to lose to the Bears. The Bears, I mean, I hate to say it, but just still don't have a clue on how to have a winning team. So,
yeah,
I think it's just going to be. But then again, it might prove me wrong. But I'm going with the Chargers nonetheless because.
You mean the Rams?
Yes, the Rams. Because LA, for some reason, needs 3 separate teams to itself. Anyway, the Rams. I think they're still going to be good enough, and I think. But then again, the Bears might just pull something out of the air and just make this crazy season continue on going.
Yeah. See, the Rams they look really good one week when they played the Lions. And then I don't know if they knew they had to play the Cardinals because they just weren't there the entire game.
Yep.
And then last week, they looked good. And no one expected them to beat the 49ers.
I was going to say to a banged-up 49ers team.
Right. I mean, might as well just say
they're
the
just
offensive
banged
line.
up, but
I mean, the Bears' offensive line is bad, but the Bears' defense is really good and not super banged up like the 49ers.
Yep.
And I think considering the injuries with receivers, Nakua and Cooper Kupp out, I'm going to take another flyer and say the Bears. So far, I think we've been 2-2 on all of these. So, guys, please, if you're watching, break these ties. Tell us in the comments which 2 of us are wrong and which 2 of us are right. Or say if we're all wrong and they're going to tie. You can say that too if you want. You might be wrong. But oh, here's a good game. Again, I wish this was later in the season because we could flex it. but it's Minnesota traveling to Green Bay. Brendan, who wins this one?
Oh,
I think this is harder since Jordan Love's supposed to play.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say the Vikings. They're hot. They're on a roll. Even though Sam Darnold hurt his knee, he only missed a play. So I'm going to say Vikings.
All right, we got a Minnesota. Bobby, who you got?
I think I got Green Bay this week.
I feel like we're going to end this 2-2 again. Grayson.
Honestly, give me Minnesota. I think, honestly, as Brendan said, they're coming out, swinging. They're starting off the season strong. Then again, some of the teams they played are, they're dog water. But I think even with Green Bay, it's still a decent enough team. But I think Minnesota's still got this in the bag.
All right, just to keep the 2-2 theme going, give me Green Bay. Hey, eventually we'll get some where we can just go 3-1 or 4-0.
Yeah.
If Jordan Love plays or Willis, I think Green Bay's defense has really stepped it up from week 1. But again, like Brennan said, neither team was on home turf, and the turf was terrible.
Right.
And so when you're back on like an NFL grade field, and you don't have all the weird time stuff going on, I think it helps. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game.
Yeah.
Multiple touchdowns, at least 4 on both sides. I know I said, Green Bay's defense is good. Minnesota's is good, but I think the offenses are both good.
Yep.
So I think it'll be a fun game to watch. Probably funner than the next one. Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Brendan.
Pittsburgh. That defense is keeping them in games, and they are doing good. And I don't know what to think of Indianapolis this year. I thought they were going to be better than they are, but they seem to be struggling in my mind.
All right, Bobby.
Pittsburgh.
This might go 3-1. I don't know. Grayson.
Your gosh darn right, it's going to 3-1. I refuse to say Pittsburgh's going to win a game out of principle. It's going to be Indianapolis, even if they do lose.
You know what that means.
2-2?
2-2? Give me the Colts. It's going to be like our running gag this week. I do like the Colts. Like Brendan said, though, they've been kind of hot and cold. But they do have a good defense. And I think that's where it might just not be the funnest to watch. Kind of like their game with Green Bay was super low scoring. I think it's going to be that way again. But I think Richardson will get it done. So give me the Colts.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Bobby, this might be it. This might be our first 3-1. And I know you're not going to like it, but it's the Denver Broncos traveling to the big Aaron Rodgers-led New York Jets. Brendan.
Jets.
Just that's it.
I haven't really watched either team or anything, so I don't know much about them. I just...
You at least saw Aaron Rodgers' pretty touchdown pass, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bobby, we know you're going to take the Jets. Tell us why.
No, we're going to be. I think we're going to beat the Jets by a touchdown this week.
Okay, feeling confident. Grayson, do you feel that confidence in the Broncos as well?
No, not even a little bit. Not to be rude, but yeah, Jets are just going to take it. It's the way it is. The sky is blue, grass is green. The Jets are probably going to take this away from the Broncos.
And look at this. We get our first 3-1. We don't need anyone to break this up because I'm taking the Jets. Their defense, we knew were going to be good. We weren't sure about offense and how Rodgers was going to click, but 3 weeks in, he's looking really good. He's throwing pretty touchdown passes. He's looking better than he has in years. And I think compared to the Broncos, I think they're just going to be overmatched. So give me the New York Football Jets. Okay, Brendan, here we go. Game of the week for you. Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, in Tampa. Who you got?
I got Philadelphia. I think their defense is finally hitting strides under their new defensive coordinator, and with AJ Brown back, that's really good. And even though we missed two of our offensive linemen last week due to injury, their two replacements didn't skip a beat. That offensive line looked great, and year ago, 2 years ago, I was calling for, we needed a big, heavy running back. I like the small speedsters that can catch stuff and things, but we needed a powerhouse, and I was so happy when we got Barkley. So Philly will win this time. Get revenge from our wild card loss.
Bobby, what about you?
I'm going with the Eagles over Tampa.
You're even wearing a green shirt. I should have known it.
No, yeah, it's blue, but it looks green.
Oh, is it blue?
Yeah.
It does look green. All right, Grayson, where are we going?
I don't know. Where are we going?
Philly.
It's Philly and who again? I'm sorry.
Philly
Tampa.
and Tampa.
Philly and Tampa. Oh God.
After Tampa just got embarrassed too.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, I want to support my boy Baker and say Tampa, just because. I mean, that loss came out of nowhere. It feels like they're trying to change up too much. If they go back to what they were doing the first two games, they have a solid chance to beat Philadelphia, which I think they realized after playing the Broncos. Plus, they know that Philly's going to be a really good team, so their guard's going to be especially up, so I'm going to go with Tampa.
This one's tough. Just because, Philadelphia's been hot and cold. AJ Brown's back, though, so that's good.
Yep.
Tampa Bay was hot and then just, dead.
Ice.
Yeah, dead. Buried 6 feet under. I don't know. I really want Baker to do good. I think he's a good quarterback. I've liked him since he's come out in college. And, he's had some rough stints with, the Panthers and stuff. But I think this week I'm going to have to say Philadelphia, unfortunately. Or fortunately. But, ooh, a battle of the cats. Brendan, Cincinnati, Carolina.
I'm going to say the Panthers.
You're going the Panthers, okay.
I watched that game last night, and Cincinnati looked dead in the water. I don't even think they ran the ball. I don't feel like they had much of a run game, and now they have hurt offensive linemen. And I hope Andy Dalton gets his revenge.
Bobby?
I'm going Carolina too.
Really? 2-0 for Carolina. That's Grayson.
I don't think Carolina's got a hope and a prayer. They're going against the Bengals. Cripes. This is definitely again, this is just picking it's like watching just two of the Black Knights from Monty Python just go against each other with no arms or legs. Yeah, honestly, I'd pick the Bengals over the Panthers, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. They've been in both games. They looked rough week 1. Week 2, they lost, and they were super, super close to beating the Chiefs, who were good, obviously. And then last night, they had some injuries, but Jaden Daniels just looks really good. So I'm just going to say the Bengals. If they go in 4, push that panic button. But at some point, they gotta step it up because they can't be going that way. Here's another one talking about going 0-4. Jaguars, Texans. Brendan.
Texans, they'll bounce back. I think that was, like I said earlier, one of my most shocking games was that score. And I mean, I didn't get to watch it, but I think the Texans are a better team, and they'll bounce back, and they'll show that that's why they are a good team. Is because even after an ugly loss, they can bounce back and beat the people that they should be beating.
Bobby.
I'm going Texans.
Grayson.
Yeah, give me the Texans. They're going to be on home field turf, and I don't know why I said home field turf. Anyway, you got home field advantage. So I honestly think that they're going to, give me Texans.
Yeah, let's make it our first 4-0 sweep. I'm taking the Texans as well. You know, I said the Jaguars have a lot of talent, but it just seems like the coaching isn't there. And at some point, every coach just time catches up to him, and the league grows and evolves past what he can do. And you know, Peterson was good. It brought Brennan a Super Bowl trophy, but I think at some point his message is just going to grow stale. You know, we saw that where the Seahawks got rid of Pete Carroll, the Patriots got rid of Bill Belichick. They just needed a fresh change, and with a good young cast, that should happen. And I think Texans, C.J. Stroud, they're gonna take it. It might be ugly like the Buffalo game. Ooh, here's another one that might be good. Brennan, Washington, Arizona.
I think this can be a great game. I'm going to say Cardinals just because Washington's my division.
Hey, oh, that's
But
always
I'm
a good
excited for
reason.
that game.
Bobby, what about you?
Arizona.
Grayson.
Honestly, give me Washington. I think they've had a pretty hard start to the year. But I think they're not going to be able to. I think the Commanders are just a little bit better. So I think they'll pull it out in the end.
Hard start. They're on top of their division.
Don't
they
use my
really?
words against me, Brendan.
Are they 2-1?
Yeah, they're 2-1. Their only loss is to the Dolphins week 1.
I'm looking at the Cardinals. Arizona, right? So they lost to the Lions and to the Bills.
Yeah.
And there was some controversy in that Lions one.
Yeah, I was talking about the Cardinals, so not the Commanders, but the Cardinals, I don't think they're going to pull it out, but I think Washington's looking good out the gate, so I think they're going to pull it out.
Yeah, see, for me, this is another one I think could be high scoring. Kyler Murray and Harrison Jr. just looking really good. Jane Daniels with Washington looking good. I'm just going to have to go, maybe, I guess, experience. You know, Kyler Murray obviously has been in the league a little bit longer than Jane Daniels, so I'm going to take Arizona there. This one might be an easy one. New England, San Francisco, Brendan.
49ers.
Why? I thought you were going to say the Patriots.
I mean, you could. They're a half decent team when they have a whole week.
I thought this was going to be our first clean sweep for an underdog.
But, you know, they show how are they underdog when the 49ers are as banged up as they are?
Oh, Grayson drops.
We haven't even got to the Browns game yet.
That's why he said no more. All right, Bobby.
49ers.
Okay. I'm going to pick the 49ers as well. I think, you know, Patriots look good. Grayson's back. Grayson. Patriots, 49ers. So far, it's 3-0 for the Patriots.
If y'all can hear me, I cannot hear anybody on chat. I'm sorry.
Okay, here. I'll Let's see.
49ers, 100%.
Okay. Grayson's taking the Niners. Let's see. Brendan, here we go. Browns, Raiders.
I'm gonna choose the Raiders.
Okay.
I still root for Devontae Adams. He was a great receiver for me, and I hope things can turn around. And we'll see.
Bobby,
Cleveland.
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 All right, let's send it to Grayson. Grayson, who you think's winning? Your Browns or the Raiders? Oh, I think he froze.
Well, I think he was going to restart his system.
I think it's Russell Wilson.
No, it's Kareem Jackson.
Yours is Kareem Jackson. You guys trade spaces.
Oh, okay.
It's like wife swap, but player swap. All right, so Grayson
Rather
might.
Kareem Jackson than Russell Wilson.
So Grayson might be frozen. We'll come back to him.
He's definitely choosing the Raiders, though. Why wouldn't he?
Who do I want to take? Browns or Raiders?
Lesser of two evils.
I think the Browns have looked better defensively. Maybe not offensively, so give me the Browns. I might be wrong. I mean, technically, we all have a 50-50 shot, so. Oh, Bob's game of the week. Bob will let you kick it off here. Kansas City, Los Angeles. Who you got?
Los Angeles.
You think LA is going
Yes.
to beat the
Yes.
Chiefs without Justin Herbert?
Or
Yes.
Joey Bosa.
Yep.
All
I just
right.
see an upset.
I mean, he was the only one that picked the Broncos to beat Tampa Bay last week. So. Brendan, what about you?
Yeah. I'm gonna say Red Kingdom.
The stadium we got into that time?
Yeah. The one that, just willingly leaves their gates open to anybody.
Hey, if you know people that can open the gates for you, nothing wrong with that. Just make a quick call. Just say, hey, my friend Brendan loves to drive into stadiums. Please open the gate. And that's all you gotta say.
Yep.
Unless you're wearing Bullet Club stuff at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, then during WrestleMania, then they'll kick you out. Get out of here.
Yeah.
We don't want you near WrestleMania. That's what they told me and Brennan. Yeah, give me the Chiefs as well. I mean, could you imagine what this would do for Andy? I mean, I don't think it's going to happen as far as one portion of this. The other portion could. But imagine what this would do for Andy Reid if the Chiefs go undefeated and three-peat in the same season.
He might retire at that point.
He might retire, and people might consider him the best coach of all time.
Oh, there's already talks about that. Because what he's done in Philadelphia, 5 NFC championship games in a row, and now he's turned around and led the Chiefs to 3 Super Bowls and 5 AFC championships appearances, and just like he's already in the conversation for one of the greatest coaches of all time.
All right. Grayson is back. Grayson, can you hear us? Oh, no, Grayson can't hear us again.
Do you hear what I hear?
No.
It's Russell Wilson. Russell, get out of there. Leave Grayson alone. What if that, he comes on screen? It's just like Russell Wilson. All right. Brennan, this one should be fun. I'm going to start this one off because one is a quarterback from a college that me and Matt go visit quite often in the University of Wyoming. And the other one is a quarterback from my college, University of Louisville. And that is Baltimore and Buffalo. Ooh, Buffalo looks so good. I don't know how. Oh, man, I don't know if I. Oh, this one's hard. Brendan, I'm actually going to let you start, though.
This one is hard though because I think the Ravens. They're one of the better 1 and 2 teams, and especially after walking into Jerry's world, and I mean that game was close, but it was not close.
Mm-mm.
But without Stephon Diggs, Buffalo's offense looks better, and everybody sees it. I'm going to take the Ravens just because I don't believe they start 1 and 3.
All right, Bobby.
Baltimore.
All right, Grayson, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right. So, Grayson, before we get to this game, we have a couple other games. Let's start with your Browns going to the Raiders. Do you think they pull off a victory?
Look, I'm just going to stick by my team. Browns, 100%. I don't necessarily, have a lot of faith in the boys, but hey, if you don't support your team in the good and the bad, you're not really a fan. So I'm going Browns.
I wish it,
All right. And then what about the Chiefs Chargers?
Chiefs.
And then we had this kind of a little discussion.
My doctor.
I don't think one part's going to happen, but the other might. What would it do for Andy Reid's legacy if the Chiefs happen to go undefeated and 3-peat?
Then he should absolutely retire, and then the Chiefs fall apart, and then opens up the league to somebody else going into the Super Bowl. So if that actually happens and he can go out on top, there's no other sign from the universe to tell you to walk out while you're ahead. So,
right. So yeah, I don't think they go undefeated. I think they lose at some point this season. But the 3-peat might happen. And kind of the fact, I think he's 10 years younger than Belichick or Carroll were last year. So,
Fuck that.
whoa.
Sorry. That's wrong. Said something. Sorry.
Welcome to the Shadow Realm, boys.
Hey, Bob, why don't you tell us how you truly feel about the Chiefs?
No.
You know how much you love them. Did you ever get that Chiefs hat?
No.
The Raiders hat. Tony
should I send you a Patrick Mahomes jersey? They're everywhere here.
Just send it to the King Supers in Castle Pine. See, he didn't say no, Bobby. Or he didn't say no, Brendan. All right, Grayson. Bills, Ravens.
Same thing as with the Steelers. Screw the Ravens. Bills all day, every day.
Never.
All right. So for me, this is tough because you guys know, obviously I'm from the Louisville stuff, but we do go up to University of Wyoming, and I think the Bills are they might be the best team in the NFL right now. It's a long season, but give me Buffalo in this one, which gives us 2 Monday night games. Brendan, I don't think Tennessee goes defeated. I'm going to say it now. Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans beat Miami. What about you?
This is another example of I'm thankful there's 2 games on Monday night, and I'm thankful that I get to watch the one that I want to watch because I don't have cable, because I do not want to watch this game. But yeah, I think Titans win. You can't vote for. I mean, you can root for a team that's third string quarterback, but I don't think they have a defense. I actually even forgot that Jalen Ramsey's still on their team. until the other day when I saw him signing a contract or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, he's still playing."
Is Jadeveon Clowney on a team?
The
trying to
the
think.
the
Titans.
Saints.
Is it the Saints? Okay. Because I was like, I thought it might be the Titans, but I wasn't sure.
He
Bobby,
was
who
with
you got?
Washington last year, and then he went to the Saints in free
Yeah.
agency.
Oh, wow. I don't know that. Who you got?
Washington,
Oh, no. Tennessee. Tennessee or Miami.
That's our
Tennessee.
fault.
He was picking the University of Washington to show up and beat both teams on Monday night.
I root for that as well.
Gracie, what about you? Are we going to make it a Tennessee type of night?
Yeah, the Dolphins don't have a chance.
Yeah, true.
All right. And then finally, to end it off, the 6:15 Monday night game, Seattle Seahawks, Detroit Lions. I'm taking Seattle. But Brandon, what about you?
Detroit. It's Detroit.
Oh, Bobby got in. He wanted to pick Detroit.
I don't know. This is a hard one. I'm gonna say Lions just because they're at home.
Okay.
Seattle's looking really good too. So
It's a good thing the Broncos gave us all their picks for
the
Mr.
next 20
Unlimited.
years.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Panthers giving the Bears all their picks. They still owe picks for Bryce Young, and he might not be on their team. It's crazy. Grayson, end us off tonight. Who you got?
Hate to say it, I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions.
So disappointed.
Look, what can I say, Keegan? I got to go with my gut on this one.
Hey, it's okay. So there we go. Another week in predictions. To end it off, Grayson, have you seen the Thunderbolts with the asterisk at the end trailer?
Was there one that was just released?
Yes. Here, I will put it in the chat so you guys can read it, watch it, and then we can discuss it.
So I got a question about the games this week.
Mm-hmm.
Would anything get canceled if that hurricane turns up the East Coast or turns up?
Let's see. I mean, the Miami one could have some difficulties.
We might too. If it turns up in New York too. So that if it turns up that way.
No, that's too far. Because it's supposed to hit down south. I mean, it might have some like rain and stuff.
Is Miami playing Miami this week?
Yep. Yep. Tampa Bay is too.
Oh God! So they both might have problems.
Well, Falcons and Texans are both home.
Brendan, have you seen the trailer yet?
No.
I sent you the link. It's in the private chat. I guess I should watch it too. All right, so Bobby, while we're watching this, just tell everyone about your experience this week at the place you were eating at.
I couldn't even make it through the first 30 seconds of the trailer. I'm already out. It's going to be not good. It's going to be so not good.
I don't know how many reshoots they had on this one. Because I know what's the other one? Captain America, they had a ton. They like reshot almost the entire film. So I don't know. We get past these next few movies, I think, is where Marvel might turn around. We know they have at least 2 cash grab movies coming up with the Avenger films, but after that, I don't know. I think they're starting to learn what they can and can't get away with, and one of them is releasing 30,000 movies a year.
This one looks kind of stupid.
Wow.
Where the beginning's kind of.
Yeah, what's that song where it's like with the feet on the edge of the ground, on the edge of the ground? As soon as it started, as soon as the chord progression started, I was like, I'm out. This is giving me Nothing Really Matters, Suicide Squad vibes. This is gonna be brutal.
Do you think it's better or worse than The Crow 2024?
Because it's Marvel and they have the money and they have, star power and not a bunch of B and C list actors, it'll be fine. I'll show up to see Florence Pugh in the Widow gear. I'll show up to see, David Harbour. He's still pretty funny. I think that he's, decent enough. Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier. I think he's worth at least watching. That'll get me in the seat for the most part, but it's giving very middle of the road. Like they're just churning this out because they have to, and it was already in the can just to move on to their next projects. It feels like they're just, with how they're announcing this and kind of like rushing and kind of releasing this secretively, because this is the first time I'm hearing about the trailer dropping today. They're trying to rush through this as quickly as they can without taking as much damage as possible. And I can't blame them. They've been through a lot. It's not good. It's not going to be good. You can tell that Disney doesn't even have faith in it because they're not making a big deal about it.
Yeah, I think that's been kind of their go-to lately, because I think Agatha All Along has also been on streaming for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I was like, what?
I saw like one trailer on YouTube, and that was probably it. The only thing that I knew when they actually released that was everybody just dogging on it with how bad it is.
Yeah, and what's funny is like you used to see like a ton of like promotional stuff.
Yeah.
And with like Captain America going so far in post-production because of reshoots, I think the McDonald's promotion came out in like May or June, and it's not coming out till like mid next year. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Trailers can be deceiving. We've seen good trailers and then watched movies such as Suicide Squad, where that one trailer looked good. We're like, okay, this could be fun, and then we watched it and we're like, no. Better than Justice League, but no.
Not by much. Not by much.
But it says something when Justice League is the your worst. Well, I don't know. Wonder Woman 1984 might be the worst one in that series.
Well, then it's like, because I saw, oh God, it's going to, it's bringing back I just looked at the poster again, and because I didn't really watch the whole trailer all the way through, because I can already, in my bones, I can feel it. It's just not going to be good. But seeing Taskmaster on the poster, I'm like, this is going to be so bad. It's going to be so bad. And
with a new costume.
Just because you've redesigned a turd does not mean it's a better turd. It's still a turd.
But I liked one of the comments in the trailer on YouTube said, see, Ant-Man villains are better when they're not in an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Marvel it feels like they don't know what they're doing. I mean, it does now because they've come in and now they've canceled a ton of crap. But that whole last phase, it's like, what was it for? Because it didn't lead anywhere. There wasn't like a big movie or anything. It just was separate movies that didn't connect anywhere. It hurt Brendan. Look at him. That's how bad it hurt him.
Well, it's like if they're gonna do a movie about this kind of stuff, it can't just keep being this light, kind of like what we talked about yesterday. It's just if you're gonna make movies about this hard, edgy class of Avengers, you have to be willing to be gritty and not PG-13. You kind of got to go a little R with it. You can't be doing this Marvel shtick for much longer. And I think them taking the risk with Deadpool and it paying off, they kind of need to get people and, again, like we talked about yesterday, actual directors, people that know what they want and are able to fight for what they want and make it happen in a large conglomerate setting. It needs to happen. And I mean, honestly, even for the Thunderbolts, they could scale this budget back by like a factor of 10 and like get low level action stars to like take over these roles instead of bringing in heavy hitters like Florence Pugh and I shouldn't say Wyatt Russell's a heavy hitter, but he's been in enough to where his paycheck's not cheap. Plus he could even honestly be in that movie still because he's still cheap enough. And then Sebastian Stan, he's too expensive, so that's where your budget should go. You just need to start. There honestly just needs to be a recasting because like the sooner we can get through if the theories on what they're going to do with Doctor Doom is correct, and they're going to set that as essentially like a reset point for the universe since it's the Secret Wars, and it combines all the universes together. That's just honestly a point to where they can start bringing in the heavy A-list actors that they want to start building up. And then if they're smart, they'll start making just small budget projects if they're going to keep this gigantic machine churning out projects all the time just to keep people invested in it, because it needs to stop being these monumental events, because movie going and cinema has changed so much since Marvel came out, and it kind of needs to adapt to that. And they also need to adapt to their audience to give them what they really want.
So speaking of comics, did you see the casting of Hal Jordan?
I think I did, and I think it was a really good call.
Yeah, I think Kyle Chandler will do good. I think he has the chops to be funny but serious at the same time, which is what Hal's supposed to be.
If he plays it like he did the FBI agent in Wolf of Wall Street, it'll be pretty top tier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that series is going to be good. It's going to be a more newer kind of like crime drama.
Which is what the Green Lantern is.
Yeah, because it's a police force, so a noir would fit perfectly. And I like how DC is not all one flavor, but they have one vision currently.
I think that's honestly where James Gunn, being the head of the entire, brand, comes into effect, is that he understands that creatives need to be allowed to do what they need to do, but we have to be aiming for the same goal here and have the same point in mind with every project that we do. And I mean, honestly, without him going through the hierarchy of Disney, I don't think we'd have the hope that we do have for DC now. It's just the hard part's going to be not letting your hopes get too high, because we all know what DC is capable of doing.
Yeah.
Well, and because with Marvel, like we talked about, DC, lots of flavors, one vision. Marvel feels like one flavor, a ton of visions, and like no direct path of where to go. But I'm also seeing that with their parks, because how they're planning Animal Kingdom when Universal's about to open a giant new park there just seems very strange to me.
Honestly, I haven't heard any news on that, but I agree with you. I honestly think Bob Iger needs to be taken out of leadership. He's trying to force everything to be just this bog standard, like it's back in 2016 type of mentality. He's not going to take the company where it needs to go. It's like it was back in the 80s before Michael Eisner took over. It's in a creative rut. He's tapped out because he's made his quadrillions worth of dollars off of this company, and he needs to be honestly taken out, and they need to find somebody else. And I don't think it necessarily needs to be somebody who. It needs to be somebody who's focusing on entertainment being the main point of the brand, and then pushing for like letting people create their art, but then at the same time, not necessarily just letting it go off and be a non-entertaining mess. It needs to actually be entertaining. We can't just keep having nothing happen with all these movies and just having there's got to be a change at Disney, because with how much that they own and how much control they have over so many different properties, there needs to be a shakeup over there, because it's getting a little rough.
Right. Well, with the park thing, so Animal Kingdom has been kind of struggling. But I mean, when I was there recently, it was still busy. But the thing is, they're planning on closing like 70% of their park for the next like 2 years.
Yep.
Did they say why? Is it like, are they trying to bring in more animals, or is it like?
Well, one of them is going to be like Cars. They're going to put Cars in Animal Kingdom. Again, doesn't make sense. The Bugs Life stuff they're taking out. And I forget what's going in there. And then the dinosaur stuff's going away. It's going to be Indiana Jones. But it's going to be like 3 years before any of this is out. And Universal just bought more property. They're expanding. They have all their Dark Universe stuff going on. And now they're even talking about maybe bringing the Jaws stuff back, or bringing some of their older rides back, because now they have more land.
Well, see, Universal's doing it right. They're looking towards the future, creating something new, and they're not just trying to grasp at straws. Where it's like, Disney World and Disney it feels. The great thing about companies like Universal or even WB or anything else, it doesn't have like central creators that it looks to and essentially worships like a deity, as much as Walt Disney tries to be like, we need to make sure we maintain Walt's desire for the worlds, because otherwise it's compromising his vision. At some point, you have to break the vision. At some point, stuff has to change. It's not the 50s anymore. It's not the 60s anymore. There has to be renovations. There has to be future looking. There has to be, you can't just keep avoiding the inevitable. Time catches up with all of us, and eventually we all become outdated. Disney's outdated, and they need to start looking and investing into something that's going to actually bring them up to last the next 10 to 20 years, or otherwise it's going to be what they've done since, again, Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg did, where they brought everything up to and took it forward into entertainment. Then as soon as they all left, it fell apart. And so people need to stop relying on the Disney brand and being like looking back towards what Walt would have wanted, because the dude's been dead for 60 years. It's time to move on.
Well, just do it smartly. They have a lot of unused space. And I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe some of these rides are outdated, right? The dinosaur ride, I enjoyed seeing it. It was really cool. But the ride mechanics, I can see being outdated, and they want to bring it up to par. But why do you got to like revamp it and make it Indiana Jones, which isn't Animal Kingdom themed?
Exactly.
And at the same time, you're already closing like half the park to put in Cars or whatever. Why do you need to close other portions at the same time? Like, do it one step at a time. Because that's just going to drop it. You're pretty much telling people don't come.
Yeah, well, they're grasping at straws. They're trying to be like, remember this? Remember when we had this at one point? This reminds you of your childhood, right?
Truth.
And it's like, it does. But I mean, again, even look at Universal, where they don't have as many, necessarily properties in the parks are not as big as Disney's are. Well, they're comparable, but it's like, whenever a ride starts becoming outdated, they shut the park down, they bring it up to speed, they renovate it, they make sure it's actually at least, still rideable and enjoyable. It's not just, they're like, oh, it's been that way for 60 years. We got to leave it the exact same way because we want to preserve the magic. That's not how that works. If you want to because everybody, it's like, once you've ridden the rides once, you have no need to go back, because you're like, I rode the rides once. There's nothing. How is this fun? Because it's the exact same thing. They don't change anything. They don't bring anything in. It's just, I mean, even look at like the Lilo and Stitch thing. It was just a reskin of Alien Extraterrestrial, and it's just it's Disney's gotten lazy, and they just have their imagination's been tapped out.
Yeah, see, I guess we'll talk. We should do a whole video on like this at some point. I think it'd be a fun convo. The dinosaur ride I thought was very jerky,
Yeah,
and at points it gave you time to look at stuff, but it was like just so back and forth. I wasn't a huge fan of the ride. The Expedition Everest one was pretty good.
yeah, it was fine.
I think at least with Animal Kingdom, because they didn't have a ton there, was probably my favorite in Animal Kingdom. Now the roller coasters at Universal Studios I enjoyed much better. Like the Mummy was fun. I really
Nope.
enjoyed that one.
100%. I mean, even the Hulk. Did you go on the Hulk roller coaster?
No, so we didn't have all the portions open, but
Next time, if we ever go out there, dude, we got to go on the Hulk roller coaster. It is so much fun.
yeah.
and-
David wants us to go out for Halloween Horror Nights when they open Dark Universe next year.
I am down to clown, dude. It's gonna get it's pricey though, but I'm down to clown.
Believe me, luckily I was there for work, and so airplane, hotel, food, taxis were paid for, and Universal was free, which was
Nice.
fun. They had it so it was just our show walking around, so there was no lines, which was also awesome.
That's sick.
So you go on the Mummy, and then I got out and I was like, let's go back on the Mummy. And so we had that. We had the Blues Brothers were around doing their stuff.
Told
What
you.
was Fast and Furious was there? I didn't do that, or
That's already on.
Transformers, because I think they're just the 4D stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's not so cool.
Yeah.
But Harry Potter was pretty fun. That little area. I didn't do Men in Black either, but
Just touring.
It's a fun. It's fine. It's a good, like, if you want to get inside and get an AC for a little bit to get out of the swamp. It's definitely, a good little break.
right. Yeah, no, I say let's set up a live stream or not live stream, but a podcast where we talk about the parks, because I think that'd be a fun time.
I'd be down.
But, hey, that is our stream for tonight. We've almost gone 2 hours, which is unusual for just a regular season show, but we were having a good time.
I heard they're doing like a Grown Ups 3 though, like Chris Rock, Adam Sandler. They're gonna start.
Probably. Hollywood is out of ideas. So
They're doing Happy Gilmore too. So
Yeah.
pretty much tapped.
How was Beetle? I've heard reviews on Beetlejuice, the other one. I've heard
I
kind
haven't
of bad
seen it.
reviews.
I haven't seen it. Next movie I'll see in theaters is Joker, because we will be covering
I've heard
it.
Joker's supposed to be really good. I saw the reviews on TV. Looks good.
Yeah. I'm hopeful. We'll see.
Yeah.
Right, Grayson, we'll give an honest review. That was a movie I remember you and me and Matt really enjoyed, and we both saw all together for our second time in theaters. And it was better the second time because you knew the twists and turns. So, yeah, we will be back next week for Cool Sports Chat. If you want more, click the link to the left. If you want to see me and Grayson and Alex and Nolan and Nick talking the Crow, and the Crow again with some more Crow. There was lots of Crow going on. Click that link to your right. It was a over 3-hour conversation, but we did have 3 properties, so we try to give them even amounts of time to really talk about. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and let us know what is your favorite ride at Universal and who is going to upset who this week. Tell us in the comments below.